The Wholecut Oxford is about as close as you can get to a masterpiece in men's footwear. One piece of leather, no distractions, just pure, minimal, elegant design. So when I found a pair for under $250, I figured I had to see what they were all about. And after wearing these for a few months, I certainly have some thoughts that I want to share. But first, let's talk about the brand. Meermin is a Spanish heritage brand based out of Mallorca. Their direct-to-consumer model allows them to cut out high retail markups, and while most of their production is done in China to keep costs down, they are still known for a Goodyear welt construction and premium leathers from France, Italy, and Japan tanneries, things that would compare to higher end shoes at a higher price. And they compete with brands that price their shoe 2 to 3 times higher than this specific Meermin shoe in terms of materials, but not in terms of finishing. Now, as I mentioned, the Wholecut Oxford being such a masterpiece and sort of high-end achievement in men's footwear, it's for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost, the appearance. Obviously, it's made from one single piece of leather, which gives it a super clean, minimal aesthetic, and it just looks super luxurious. There's minimal stitching on the shoe anywhere, no piecing or anything like that. It closes in the back, and then it has stitching obviously around the gusset and where you put your foot in. But other than that, very simple. And it is considered in men's footwear one of the most elegant dress shoe styles known. A few different specs to highlight on this specific Wholecut from Meermin. Obviously, the Goodyear welted construction, which is just sought after in high-end footwear and really footwear in general, and it makes it easily resolable so that you can keep these uppers clean and you can keep these shoes going for years and years, if not decades. You have a full-grain, soft and supple calf lining interior, very nice and elegant, good material use all over the shoe, including on the interiors where a lot of different brands will skimp out on. And then vegetable tanned insoles, they become very comfortable to wear after a few wears, and they sort of mold to your foot very nicely. And the exterior leather is box calf leather. Although they don't offer the exact specs of where they get their leather, the tannery for this shoe, oftentimes their leather is coming from high-end tanneries, as I mentioned before. And this Wholecut Oxford is a little bit higher in price, again, just because it is that more high-end, luxurious type of Oxford. But Meermin has variety of price point shoes. I have a pair of loafers from them. I actually have a pair of monk strap Oxfords as well, which are super nice. But this is certainly the most expensive shoe that I own currently, and that I bought from Meermin. So I've never owned a Wholecut Oxford from any other brand, so it's hard for me to directly compare them. But certainly, in compared to the monk straps that I own and compared to other dress shoes that I own, this is probably the most high-end and something that I would wear to the most formal event that I'm going to. And the last that they use to build the shoe around the shape of the shoe is super sleek, super elegant, very thin. It comes to a nice point at the front, which I don't usually love, but this point isn't like sharp. It's rounded off very nicely, and it has a very nice shape overall. I've seen more expensive dress shoes. I've seen custom shoes, and this appears like a custom shoe. Obviously, if you know custom shoes and you get up close to them, then you can see it when you get up close to these. But from far away, they give off that appearance. And I think that's certainly what you're paying for and something that you're looking for and something that Meermin offers that a lot of other brands really can't. Straight out of the box, as you would expect, they definitely have a very strong structure. You want that in a dress shoe, obviously. The leather feels super nice, very luxurious, but also stiff, as coming out of the box is going to feel like that. But as you wear it more and more, obviously it's going to start to break in and wear really nicely around your foot, take on shape a little bit better. Real quick, before we continue, if you're enjoying this video, if you enjoy men's fashion content, menswear content like that, consider scrolling down, dropping a like, leaving a comment, and subscribing to the channel. It will be super helpful. Let's get back to it. Now, in terms of these shoes and all of the Meermin shoes that I own, really any pair of shoes, I think, and especially any pair of shoes with a sleek silhouette, there's going to be a break-in period. And that has been no difference from this pair of shoes to the monk straps that I own to the suede loafers that I own. The suede loafers had a little bit of a shorter break-in period, probably just the materials that were used, and also the shape isn't as condensed. But these ones, I mean, they took some days to break in before they got a little bit more comfortable, and so did the monk straps, but now they're one of the most comfortable pairs of dress shoes that I own and wear. I would say the most uncomfortable part of breaking the shoe in is definitely at the heel, just rubbing on my heel, kind of blistering, having some soreness. And how I get around that is I put just band-aids on my heel, and you can even like rub them with a little bit of coconut oil or deodorant, I've heard some people say, but I don't really do that. I just put the band-aids and kind of deal with it. But when you have days that you're walking around a lot, and if you walk around a lot when you're breaking these shoes in, expect some discomfort, I will say, for probably the first 3, 4, maybe 5 wears. The fit can also be kind of tricky depending on the last that you get. If you're used to a more wider shape, then this last is definitely more thin and narrow as it's a dress shoe. So you're gonna kind of get that. One other thing that I noticed about these shoes, and I kind of wasn't expecting because I own a pair of Meermin dress shoes, although it's probably on a different last, is that the toe cap is longer on this pair than on the other ones. They appear longer in shape than on the other shoes. Straight out of the box and after first couple wears, I didn't really love that. And I think it looks a little wonky if you're wearing pants that are more slim. Some of the dress pants that I own are more of like a slim cut, not like skinny or anything, but slim. And so the long shape and the long appearance of these can look a little bit weird, I will say. But with a more classic cut pair of trousers, they look super clean, they look super nice, they look super elegant. All in all, they're not gonna be super comfortable out of the box like a pair of running shoes or something, but if you understand dress shoes, you should kind of understand and expect that. What's more important is that they break in nice and they become comfortable to wear throughout the life of the shoe. Now let's talk about them today. And I will be honest, I have quite a few pairs of shoes, probably 6 that I kind of rotate through, especially when the weather gets nicer and I can add suede back in. And this pair I've probably gotten maybe 15 or 20 wears out of so far. The leather has become more comfortable to wear, certainly. I don't have as much of that rubbing on the heel as I did initially, which is great, makes them easier to wear and more me more drawn to wanting to wear them. In general, creasing on hole cuts tends to look a little bit cleaner versus cap shoes where you have the seam and the paneling, just because there isn't a seam and more of a weak point, but because these do have a little bit of length, you will still get creasing. So I have a pair of shoe trees in these right now, but I didn't for probably the first couple months, but now I'm using them in them, and you can see a little bit of a crease in the front, and you're obviously going to see that no matter what. There's no real way to get around that if you're truly wearing and walking around in these pair of shoes. But all in all, I would say they definitely hold their shape very well so far. Now, some areas where you may see these shoes fall short of, say, a pair of $500 shoes or a more expensive custom pair of shoes is I haven't experienced any of these, but just based off some feedback that people have given on Meermin shoes, maybe these shoes as well, specifically are quality control inconsistencies, which when you have a brand that's making just more pairs of shoes and running them quicker, you're just gonna kind of expect to see this on some of the pairs that they push out. Although I do feel they probably control that very well. On this specific pair that I own, they look beautiful. And some feedback that's been gathered from Reddit, some users definitely experience that really stiff leather feel at the beginning of breaking in the shoe, and then that heel discomfort that I mentioned, it seems like that's prevalent among other wearers. So I would say keep that in mind if you're thinking about purchasing. Now, talking about what you can wear these with, I wouldn't say that these shoes are made to flex into a more casual outfit. I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure you could maybe wear them with jeans. Khakis, I think you can definitely wear them with. The way that I wear these is the most formal outfits that I'm putting together. If I'm wearing a nice suit with a tie, maybe a pocket square, I'm really dressing things up, snazzing things up, I'm gonna wear these. If I know I have an event where I'm gonna be around other well-dressed people, I'm wearing these. For more casual outfits, I'm definitely leaning towards more like of a loafer or a Chelsea boot or something like that I own. But because they're this beautiful dark brown color, you can wear them with charcoal, which I wear a lot of charcoal trousers. You can wear them with navy, obviously. Pretty much everything looks good with navy, but these look particularly good. And I don't own any lighter pairs of trousers. I do own like a lighter pair of khakis that I've worn them with maybe once or twice, and of course they look good there as well. And really, light brown is one of the most foundational colors for a men's shoe. A light brown and black, obviously, as I'm sure you well know. And so adding these to the wardrobe, they aren't going to be the pair that you don't know what to wear them with. Like, you can pretty much wear these in any situation where you need to dress up a little bit. Now, I want to touch on Meermin's value proposition. I think they have a great value proposition, and I hope that I can speak to this effectively after owning 3 pairs of shoes, having these for the least longest, and the one that I've had the longest are definitely my brown suede loafers. I've had them for probably 2.5 years now, and I mean, I've gotten a ton of wear out of them. What I have found is that the soles will go first, which obviously is expected. My loafers that I have, I'm gonna need to get them resoled pretty soon. The rubber plate that they have at the heel wears out, I would say, first, and that's what I've noticed on the pair of loafers is it kind of flakes and breaks up a little bit. And then the pair of monk straps that I have, I just have a hole in the sole of one of them. So those are 100% going to need to get repaired. I definitely don't want to keep wearing those. I'm just kind of putting it off, to be honest. But what I've learned to do now on my dress shoes, any nice shoes that I get, It's just having sole protectors put on them. So that's what I did here. And that'll extend the life of these soles even longer. I won't have to get them resoled as quickly. But even still, if you need to get them resoled, the value proposition of the Goodyear welting is that you can take them to any cobbler and they know how to do a Goodyear resole. And it's not super expensive, especially when you're spending $250 on a pair of shoes. It makes sense to take them to a cobbler and get the soles redone for whatever, 80, 100, 120 bucks. And there's also staunch value in owning a pair of shoes that isn't made in a sort of trendy manner. These are never gonna go out of style, really. These are elegant. They've been around for decades, years and years in terms of their styling, and you're gonna be able to wear them far into the future as well. You're never gonna move away from this kind of shape and silhouette in menswear. It's just super clean, super timeless, super elegant. And I try to buy things that are really for anyone that's looking for something nice in that specific category. And these don't stray out of that. I mean, in terms of who should and shouldn't buy them, really, I think anybody could buy these that's looking for a nice entry point into high-end dress shoes. If you care about value and you care about aesthetics and you care about a sleek, timeless appearance in a dress shoe, but you don't mind a little bit of a break-in period, I think these shoes are definitely going to be for you. So to close out, if you're looking for a high-end appearing dress shoe for a little bit of a lower cost than that $500 plus price point that custom shoes and higher-end brands can come with, then you're going to find them in this Meermin Wholecut. So that's that. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for checking in. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any thoughts about Meermin the brand or Wholecuts or other brands that can compare to this kind of price point and quality of dress shoe, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video and you found any value in it, please drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Love making this kind of menswear content. That's all I got for y'all today. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.